Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of This Week in iRacing, the series that tries to give you all the information you might possibly need for the races appear on the UI. Now we're quickly moving into week 7, so we're officially halfway through this season and it's going pretty damn quick. Now what might not go so quick this week is, well, this week, because it's not going to be a popular one. Now I'm not saying it's not going to be a good one. You know, if you partake in it, you know, you might enjoy it. It might be decent. But popularity-wise, this is a bad week. It's going to be a bad week, and I'll explain why. And let's talk about the most popular series first, as we always do. So let's talk about IMSA. IMSA is going to go to the Bend. No, don't worry. We're not going to do like the 32, 33 corner version. This one's a lot less. But it is a decent layout nonetheless, and it is actually quite a decent track length. You think cutting out a load of corners, it will make the track quite short, but no. It is still quite long. So, we're going to the Bend. It's a relatively new track. It came to iRacing this season, along with the Ferrari Challenge and a few other bits and bobs. Now, this track, I think when people actually drive it, they quite enjoy it. We've got this thing on iRacing, when it's a new track and not many people have heard of it, participation is always so difficult. So I think it's going to be one of those weeks where we're going to struggle. You might have to wait for like evening kind of European time to get multiple splits again. It is going to be a little bit dead during the day, in my opinion. Now, there's no rain to worry about in the open, fixed, or the endurance, because it's a 2.4 hour this weekend, so you don't need to worry about that at all. And I think in-game start time is 11 a.m. for the sprints and 10:30 a.m. for the endurance. I don't know why, but that's just the way they've done it. The IMSA endurance as well is classed as overcast. So you might even just kind of keep the temps that you've got already. Sprint and fixed might vary a little bit in terms of track temp. And when you actually try and load the race into UI as well, it tries to start the sim at 12 o'clock. So, yeah, a bit of an odd one. I'm not really sure what's going on with that one. The open, fixed, and the endurance all seem to have different start times. So, don't know what's going on there, really. I don't really think I've seen that before, but it is what it is. We're at the Bend. Participation levels are going to struggle. Track temp is going to be about mid-20 degrees. And, not too much to worry about. There's no chance of rain. Really try to avoid a drive-through penalty, because I believe this track has an insanely low pit speed limit, and the pit lane is quite long anyway. So, yeah, it's going to slow you down an awful lot. So try your best to not get a drive-through penalty or anything like that. I know you guys do anyways, but just an extra warning. Anyways, right, let's move on. Let's go to GT Sprint. Does it get any better? I don't think so. So the GT3s then, they are heading to Magny-Cours. I don't have much really to say about this track. I've raced it a few times, and I just simply think it's a terrible racetrack. I don't think it's very good at all. When I raced here previously in GT Sprint, it was chaos. It was carnage. Just wasn't great. You think the track's wide, and it actually is, but it's quite thin, and overtaking opportunities are far and few between. But people don't really care about that too much, and they will go for it regardless. But this is my opinion. Hopefully, you have a different opinion of it, and hopefully, you have some good races here. But the GT Sprint, the fixed, and the endurance are all heading to this track. In-game start time for all of them is going to be about 12 p.m. Track temp-wise, you don't need to worry too much either. Every kind of simulation I've done has kind of been mid to low 20 degrees. Quite overcast, so you don't really need to worry about it being too hot in the French summer. Rain, no chance, apart from the endurance, which has a 33% chance of rain. So that might put a few people off. But this is what I mean. I don't know how I feel about this week. It's good to mix it up, don't get me wrong. And, you know, you'll say, Ollie, there's like 50, 60 series on iRacing. Don't just focus on the IMSA and the GT Sprint stuff. I focus on those because they're my favourite series, and they are the most popular, in my opinion, on the sim, and I like to cover them in some detail. But, yeah, it's just, when IMSA's dead, you kind of normally rely on maybe GT Sprint doing something or another series. I'm just struggling to find that this week, I've got to say. It's not great. It's not great. If you're going on holiday this week, I think you've picked a really good week, I should say, if I can speak, to go on holiday. Participation levels will be okay. because it is GT3 stuff, and GT3 stuff naturally is decent no matter where it goes. But still, not many people like this track, including myself. Yeah, you can say it's good for hot lapping or qualifying, but when it comes to actual racing, no, kind of stinks in my opinion. But that's where GT Sprint is this week, so it is what it is. We'll move swiftly on to the next series, shall we? And hopefully this next series saves the week. Let's find out. Okay then, let's talk about the Nürburgring Endurance Championship then, shall we? Because that returns this week. Yes, we only had it a couple of weeks ago, but it's back once again. Now, this is the 4-hour version. It's not the 6-hour version yet. That is not for another 3-4 weeks, I believe. So, yeah, we're still on the 4-hour versions at this moment in time. Now, listen, it's been running for, I think this is running since like March, April, this series. So, you boys and girls pretty much know all about it, but just in case you don't, this is the Nürburgring Endurance Championship Series. So it's essentially the Nürburgring 24-hour, but kind of broken down into just a 4-hour race. So lots of different classes, lots of different cars, and yeah, it's a fun series, I'll be honest. You only need a D license to partake in it. I think D 4.0 or above. You can do it solo or as a team, and you are going around the VLN layout of the Nürburgring 24-hour circuit. So it's slightly shorter than the 24-hour version. Don't go through like the Michael Schumacher S's. Now, rain, there's no rain to worry about for this week, which is a good thing if you ask me. I think the game starts, in-game time is about 12 p.m. and track temperature, you're probably looking at low to mid 30 degrees Celsius. So there's not really much to say about this one. It's an endurance race, like I said, team solo, 4 hours in length. It's multi-class, plenty of cars and different types of classes to pick from. And yeah, participation levels will be high. They always are. It's a very popular series on iRacing. I always enjoy this series. And kind of when it disappears from like what? Kind of like October to March, April, it is quite badly missed. It is nice to have another endurance series to enjoy. But yeah, that's the Nürburgring Endurance Championship this week. Hopefully if you take part, do enjoy it, and do remember you do get one fast repair as well, so use it wisely. Okay then, let's have a look at some of the series that didn't make it in my top 3 for the week, shall we say. Let's have a little look, shall we? Let's start looking at the sports car stuff. Let's have a look at the Ferrari Challenge this week. We're currently at Monza combined, which has been quite hilarious. Done a few races, that's been fun. That's going to go to the Hungaroring. For that, the production car challenge, that is going to go to Road America. I imagine that is going to be very popular indeed. So if you like your production car challenge, a bit of PCC, especially the endurance series that follows it as well now, you're going to really enjoy this week. Porsche Cup, it's currently at Bathurst. I can't say I did it, unfortunately, and it's going to go to Zandvoort this time, and it looks like it's going to be a night race. So, yeah, make sure you don't lose your headlights in that one. Now, Ringmeister series, I did annoyingly miss this last week, so I do apologise for that. We're going to have the GT3 series. Now, in my mind, the Ringmeister series should really just all be about the kind of less popular cars to kind of just bring people's attention to it. I feel like when it's the more popular things like the GT3s, yes, I feel like participation levels are high, but I feel like we drive GT3s at the Nürburgring all the time. So, you know, something a little bit different. I like it when it's like, you know, like the Spec Racer Ford or, I don't know, like the GT1s, something along those lines. I mean, there's a Legacy Pro Mazda in a couple of weeks, just something different, you know. I think that's where that series kind of shines, shall we say. GTE Sprint, I know many people are a fan of this series at the moment. That's going to Sebring, and again, it looks like it's going to be a night race, so I think that will be fairly popular. That won't be too shabby. Balkan Sports Car Challenge, one of my favourite series. That's going to Silverstone, so that will be interesting. What layout is that going to be as well? A little look. It's going to be full layout. Okay, interesting. Sometimes they do the shorter version when it comes to that series. Last time that series raced, I'm pretty sure they did the shorter version, and it was quite chaotic, and that made it quite fun. Right, F4 of the Americas, Laguna Seca. Let's do F4s of Asia Pacific. Let's go to Okayama. Let's have a look at the Europe series now. That's going to go Alton Park. Oh, baby. I like a bit of F4 at Alton Park. It is class. Very underrated. The track that I can't pronounce for the fix, of course. Let's have a look at the F3 stuff. Where's that going? Danvort, crikey. I feel like it's not looking particularly great for the Formula stuff either this week. Crikey. Yes, Super Formula Lights and Magny Cores. Oh, that won't be an absolute... Well, I'm not going to say the words, but... yes, that's not going to go down too well, I don't think. That's... You're worried about your SR. I don't know if that's the one to be playing around with this week. I think you are going to suffer. Where are the tracks going? The fixed series, that is going to go to Kentucky Speedway. The next gens, they're going to Iowa. Yes, nothing really to shout about. Listen, in my opinion, sometimes you need weeks like this to kind of appreciate when we have the weeks where we have like Le Mans at IMSA and then GT Sprint at Daytona. Sometimes you've got to have weeks like this to kind of appreciate, you know, the good stuff. And if we constantly had like really good tracks or whatnot, they would get boring, wouldn't they? They would get boring after a while because it's same old, same old. So sometimes you need to break it up and have it a little bit different. But I'll be honest, yeah, it's just not that great. It's just not that great. I just feel like it's just because there's not really another series that kind of just stands out. There's nothing really that comes out for me anyways and saves the day. I don't know, like a Porsche Cup at Monza or Falcon Sports Car Challenge at somewhere that's quite interesting. Nothing really standing out to save the day. I think if it wasn't for the Nürburgring Endurance Championship at the weekend, we'd be in big trouble, personally, I think. But that's just my opinion. All I'm here is to... well, give you my opinion, of course, and tell you what the races are. If you enjoy them, fair play. That's good. That's mega. So yeah, that's this week on iRacing. Rating-wise, I'm probably going to give it like a 5 out of 10. It's a bit naff. It really is, but what to do? Anyways, right. I'll leave you to it. Thank you very much for watching it. If you enjoy this series, as always, please do leave a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. What you're doing. And we'll catch you for next week's episode. Take care, boys and girls. Have a lovely rest of your day. Ta-da.